Oh, hello folks. As you can tell by the music, this is an Uncanny X-Men Haul. I've been meaning to do one of these for a while, but I have 10 issues to show, I think. I should have had another one that should have came last week, but USPS is not very well. Ever since Return to Classic, USPS has been crap. So, yeah. So let's get started with this. I have a X-Men Annual, the King Size Annual number 4. This is kind of like the origin to Nightcrawler. Claremont wrote this, and I figure if I'm gonna go for broke on all these Claremont X-Men issues, I might as well. Whatchamacallit, I might as well get the King Size Annuals as well. And this is like the origin to Nightcrawler. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I mean, it seems like he's dead, but he's not dead. And apparently, his brother, his adopted brother, turned evil. He killed him accidentally. The mom got really angry and sent him to like this Dante's Inferno type hell. And the X-Men had to go and rescue him. So it's a pretty interesting, I will say. Definitely worth checking out. And you also got X-Men King Size Annual number 5, written by, of course, Cliff Claremont, otherwise I wouldn't have gotten it. And this one is about another alternate dimension. Pretty much the realm of Archon, which was, I think that's his name, which is from King Size Annual number 3, tried to reach the X-Men. They run into but these goblin people follow that person who was gonna reach the X-Men, and they kidnap the Fantastic Four. The only one left is Invisible Woman, and she goes to ask for the X-Men's help, and they go into the realm. And essentially, this is kind of what the cover is. That's kind of what happens. You just have this really big, gigantic battle with like these alien type creatures in this alternate dimension with the Fantastic Four in tow. I mean, this was a pretty good issue. I mean, if you like absolute slugfest, if you like, slugfest and, comics that have like just really good battles, this is a really good issue for that. It's almost like a battle royal, but yeah, so fun. And I'm pretty sure I showed this, but this is actually a legitimate Uncanny X-Men Haul. X-Men 101. As we can tell, this is one of the books that I really wanted for a while, and when I finally got it for a decent price, I was really happy. This is actually in pretty good shape. I would say this is probably like in very fine, at least. Very fine minus, but it's a really good shape. And of course, this would actually be a filler issue, actually. First appearance of Phoenix, and this is really more or less a filler issue. She's in the hospital, Cyclops actually starts crying. So yeah, I mean, not much in terms of the story happens in this, but still really glad to have it. Guy Steam always plays. But anyway, so Uncanny X-Men 101, Uncanny X-Men 106, we're going in, order. Now this one I actually just read because I forgot. I was like, why can't I remember this issue? What happened? I was like, oh, I never read it. I was like, yeah, and so this one is pretty much the X-Men fight the old X-Men. Well, at least fake versions of the old X-Men. They fight the old X-Men. And, they're still trying to gel out the team together. And you find out those aren't really the old X-Men. But Professor Xavier has been really sick and having hallucinations. And so he created really bad images of the old X-Men that were trying to kill the new X-Men. And his dark personality self kind of got out because he couldn't control it because he was so sick. And that's what that issue deals with. And it's pretty interesting. I enjoyed it, at least. It's nice to see the new X-Men against the old X-Men. But, so that was that. And this one, Uncanny X-Men 109, the first appearance of Vindicator. Now, this isn't in the greatest shape in the world, I will say. Probably, if I were to guess, I'd probably say VG. I mean, but I didn't pay, but then again, I didn't pay too much for it, so. But yeah, this is like a VG copy. First appearance of Vindicator. We all know that Wolverine used to be part of the Alpha Flight, and he resigned abruptly, and Vindicator's just trying to take Wolverine back to Canada. And so they get into these fisticuffs, and pretty much the X-Men find out find Wolverine there, and they go and confront Vindicator, and Vindicator realizes he's outmatched, so he runs away. Uncanny X-Men 110. As you can see, this is like a little pen mark there, but other than that, everything else is really in good shape, so this is probably a fine. Like I said, I live in the mid-grade, folks. Unless, I want to get something for a very fine. I think this might be the only very fine condition one that I have besides the King Size Annuals. But anyway, Uncanny X-Men 110. This is kind of one of those, not filler issues, but one of those one-shot issues where, just one thing happens, nothing really relevant happens to the story, and that's pretty much it. The X-Men are in a danger room, and this guy who looks like Colossus pretty much disrupts the danger room, and he makes the danger room actually put it into overdrive to kill the X-Men. And that's essentially what it is. And of course, they make it out. The X-Men do make it out of this alive, and he confronts this guy, and he turns out he's working for someone else. But so yeah, this is what that issue is really about. Nothing really relevant. Uncanny X-Men 115. This is actually in pretty decent shape too. I would say fine plus maybe. But yeah, this is Sauron. This is when the X-Men are still scattered after the battle with Magneto, which happened in 113, which I'm hopefully gonna get soon. But they ended up turning up in a savage land, and this is kind of another one that's kind of more of a filler issue. I mean, nothing incredibly relevant happens, I mean, it's kind of more of a filler issue, but they're still kind of struggling and getting their bearings around. And then you run into Sauron, who, controls Wolverine and who kind of knocks Storm unconscious. And, yeah, that's pretty much it. I think I forgot to say that they also have a battle with Sauron, and, Wolverine's still kind of being controlled by him, and they end up winning in the end, though. Uncanny X-Men 116. Right here, pretty decent shape. I love the pink, because we all know I have a thing with, being a Bret Hart fan, I have a thing with pink. But, yeah. This guy, the Sun God, I read about him way back in Telltale, one of my Telltale Astonished books. That kind of co-starred Dr. Doom. So I read about this guy already. And this guy is changed, and in this one, it's a pretty good issue, because in this one, he's changing the climate of the Savage Land, turning it into a really wintry snowland, and he's planning on destroying the whole thing. And so, because of that, he captures a few of the X-Men, and he catches Khazar, and the X-Men are trying to help Khazar, and this is exactly what happens. They try to burn Colossus, and he gets so hot that he turns bright red, and they're just this big battle between his forces and the X-Men forces, and in the end, you kind of get this really cool showdown between Cyclops' Optic Blast and one of his Energy Blasts, and it doesn't work out well for him, let me just put it that way, but very interesting book, really good read. And then we jump to Uncanny X-Men 126, wait a minute, 125, that's better. You can see the UPC code is crossed off, but yeah, this is pretty much, the X-Men are still ringing from the battle for Magneto. They don't know that one half thinks that Beast and Jean Grey are dead, the other half thinks that Jean Grey and Beast think that the rest of the X-Men are dead, and so Jean Grey tries to pick up her life in the Muir Island with Moira McTaggart. And the X-Men are still training at a house that's empty. Beast finds out that they're alive, and you see Cyclops, and you get really excited. And so Cyclops, they find out that Jean's in Muir Island, and unbeknownst to them, is that Proteus is on the loose, and he attacks Jean Grey, obviously, Phoenix, and he also attacks Polaris. And so, the Multiple Man and Havoc are looking all over the place, and the X-Men are on their way to Muir Island to see what's going to go happen. That's how the issue ends. Of course, you also kind of get some hints about the Phoenix, because Morio's testing her, and he's kind of worried. And we also have Uncanny X-Men 126, the second part to the Mutant X story arc. The X-Men are finally there. They have finally arrived. and they kind of get reunited with some people that think they're dead, and they're just trying to see what's going on with Proteus. Moria realizes that that's Proteus, and they fight Mutant X. Mutant X, Proteus tries to possess Wolverine, which doesn't go too well because Wolverine has adamantium, and he has to stay away from metal because it kind of disperses his energy. And so you have that happening, and they're battling him. They're not doing incredibly well, and at the end of it, Storm is just kicking up a gigantic win, and pretty much it ends with Proteus just keeps slowly approaching Storm. And last but not least, Uncanny X-Men 133, Wolverine alone. Now this is the issue that when Wolverine puts everyone on notice. Ugh. Oh man, this is I think a must-have for any Wolverine fan, if I were to say so myself. I mean, and this actually completes my Dark Phoenix saga. I mean, I had been missing this. This was like the only issue that I had been missing, and I was missing this issue for like months upon months and just could not find it for a reasonable price. And when I found it for a reasonable price, I jumped on it. And I'm really glad I did. I completed my Dark Phoenix saga, so fuck it, people. And so this is Wolverine and the X-Men, and this is exactly what it looks like. Wolverine kicks a shitload of ass. I mean, stabbing, and this is Wolverine at his best. I mean, that's all I can say. You really have to read it. I mean, it's just fantastic. And that is my Uncanny X-Men haul. I mean, you got this, you got these two, but that's my Uncanny X-Men haul, folks. So everyone, thanks for watching. Shout out to the other Uncanny X-Men people who are trying to get this stuff from Claremont's run, which would be Red Riderman Blue, who I just saw another video of, and I'm giddy. Optimus Tron 001, which I really hope he's doing well. I think he's just really busy with work and stuff. ETA Nick, X-Collects. I feel like I'm missing someone. Dark Nate is another one that he just recently jumped on the Claremont bandwagon, which is like, welcome, buddy. We meet every Tuesdays. But he recently jumped onto that and been hitting that hard. But yeah, so just a quick shout out, and thanks for watching, everyone.